Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now today, as you may be able to tell, it's a bit of a different video. You can't see my screen because it's not on your screen, which is weird, but the reason for this is because I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Today I am going to be trying to explain my theory, or one of my theories that I have as to why intellectual property rights are a scam. And by scam, I mean they do not exist, nor should they exist in any tangible sense. Intellectual property rights, the concept itself is ludicrous, and I'm going to be explaining that today. Hello everyone, this is Carson from the future, just coming here to say that this video was actually filmed on November 14th. However, since then, a guy named Anglo-Libertarian has actually posted a really good video on this topic. And even though he posted it, I still decided to upload this, which I had filmed in advance. So, if you want more information on this topic, more information from a libertarian/ANCAP perspective, check out his video. It will be linked in the description and hopefully pinned in the comments. So yeah, now let's get back to the video. Now to understand why intellectual property rights are so insanely incorrect, you must first understand why property rights are correct. Now, property rights exist for a few reasons, and I'm going to cover those here. One of the first reasons is the fact that there is limited resources. Another word for this is scarcity. Now, when you have scarcity, an item becomes more valuable. The more scarcity you have, the more valuable that item will become. For example, air is not valuable. No one can sell or buy air because it exists pretty much everywhere. Diamonds, on the other hand, are incredibly valuable. Now, take that example and transfer it to a spaceship full of diamonds. Let's say Elon Musk is shooting a spaceship to Mars and he decided to take his entire diamond collection with him. On the way there, however, let's say they started running out of air. Which commodity would be more valuable to the people on the ship? Would it be the diamonds or would it be the oxygen? Now, obviously, anyone would say oxygen, and this is essentially how scarcity creates value. If something is scarce, we tend to value it more than something which is extremely plentiful, even if the plentiful thing is much more useful to us. Now, there are two more principles I want to get into. The first is the fact that property can be claimed if it is unclaimed, and then after that, it can only be claimed through trade. For example, let's say there is an unclaimed piece of property next to my house. I can stake claim on that property because no one has ever claimed it before. If I modify it, if I claim it, it is therefore now my property, and I can do with it as I wish. However, let's say that plot next to my house was actually owned by someone else. I could no longer stake claim to this property. I would first have to barter with them and trade and see what they wanted in return for that property. Now, the final principle I'm going to be talking about today is that you can't claim property if it's not tangibly in front of you. Essentially, what this means is you cannot claim something which is unclaimed unless you're actually there in the act of claiming it. If I look at the moon, I cannot say that is my property because it's not actually mine, correct? It does exist and it is unclaimed, but I have no claim over it, just like everyone else. The way I would gain a claim on the moon would be to actually physically be there and stake my claim. Now, with all of these ideas in mind, let's take a look at intellectual property. If someone sells me a hard drive with intellectual property on it, and I take that, that is a trade. They lose their property and I gain my property. However, it becomes incredibly different when someone sells me an item online. Let's say someone sells me their song. Now, they have created this song and they sell it to me. But a funny thing happens when they sell me that song. it doesn't disappear from their hard drive. Instead, a new copy appears on mine. This new copy never existed before. It was essentially just duplicated. You can think of it as an entirely new, unclaimed piece of property. It's similar to this. Let's say I stake my claim on the moon. But then let's say someone else comes along, copies the moon, and puts it somewhere else in the sky, claiming their claim on the place where I claimed my claim. The problem exists in the fact that it is no longer my claim because it is a duplicate piece of property. I was never there for the creation of this property, and therefore I cannot claim it. It never existed for me to claim. The only thing I can claim is the original piece of property that I claimed on the moon. I can no longer claim this new moon, as this new moon is now someone else's property. This is incredibly similar to how intellectual property rights work, or more accurately, do not work. If I copy a piece of intellectual property, it is no longer the owner's because it never existed until it was copied to my property. Therefore, the owner holds no claim over it after it has been copied. Now, obviously, if they were to copy it from their hard drive to another one of their hard drives, that would tangibly be their property. But if they sell it online and I download a copy of it, because that's really the only thing you can ever access on the internet or digitally is a copy. If I download a copy of that copy was never theirs. It never existed as their property. Now, therefore, since it was never their property, they cannot hold you to any contract about what you do with it from here on out. If you do not own something, you cannot contractually hold someone to an agreement about that item. It would be similar if I tried to form a contract with someone who owned a piece of property that said they could not use that piece of property. It's extremely similar to taxes. Taxes are essentially invalidating property rights, and that is what intellectual property rights are doing as well. They are invalidating a legitimate property right, the right of the new owner of the new item which has came into existence, and they are saying that somehow I can still stake claim over this item which I never owned in the first place. This is actually the same argument when it comes to intellectual property as well. You do not own a piece of my brain. The idea which you claim to own has formulated itself in my brain. Therefore, it is not your idea. It is my idea. It is physically imprinted on the atoms which I own. Therefore, you have no claim over that intellectual property, and I may do with it as I wish. Anyway, let me know what you think of this argument. Let me know if you've got any problems with it, because I'm sure someone will in the comments, and I'd be glad to respond. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on all social media platforms, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.